let's now have an open conversation with Bhau Torsekar on the topic of memory and take the opportunity to interpret mental strength in a slightly different way. Bhau, when we watch your videos and listen to you speak, it feels like you are reading our minds. The exact reference, time, names, and events are all very precise. Watching your videos reminds me of a chess example. Some players are very experienced, playing for years. They are experts too. Some 20 to 25 players play at the same time. Then they are seated at a table and quickly, one after another, they play chess with 20 to 25 people. And still, in their minds, they are calculating each chessboard. Your speaking on YouTube also seems somewhat like that. You connect many events, references, and streams of thought in one flow, even without a script. I know that you only write the heading of the video and then have to record everything in front of the video. Here is another one, like the first chess example I gave, where one player plays with many players. Similarly, another one tells about a research experiment in chess. What did the scientists do? They took two groups, one with very expert senior chess players and the other with very novice players, because it was believed that the senior expert chess players would have very sharp intellect. So what they did was play some chess pieces randomly for both groups and showed them for 30 seconds, asking them to identify which pieces were where. Surprisingly, the novice players scored higher. They remembered more about where the pieces were. But then they conducted another experiment where they stopped the chess game midway and showed it again to both groups. At that time, however, the senior experts scored very well. That means they correctly identified the pieces. The senior players recognized the pieces better through pattern recognition. This is an experiment. So, I have told you about both chess experiments. I want to know from you how you organize so much information, context, and logic in your mind. Have you developed any special techniques or trained your mind for this?
Yes, one explanation for what you mentioned could be that the expert chess player is playing with 25 people at once. He goes and looks at the board. I have also seen it on TV. He goes and quickly defeats one opponent. He moves on to the next game. He doesn't even look at the whole board carefully. As soon as he comes here, he quickly defeats a pawn or a piece. He moved on. He did it again there. He moves forward. He hardly even gives a minute for that player. That's right. So I feel like I am the person conducting the observation in this. I feel that their brain, that particular expert chess player's brain or their vision is like a scanner. Just like when we take a photo, what happens when we take a photo? I often say our eyes and the camera. What is the camera expert in this? The camera doesn't make choices. It captures everything it sees, right? So that's how it works for those smart ones, like those in tech and so on. So the reason is their entire intellect, brain, and eyes work like a scanner. And once it scans, they understand it. But even in that, I would say that you gave a different context where all the moves are kept and the smart ones don't remember them. The novice remember. So, one reason is that in chess, there might be 200,000 ways to win. And those 200,000 are scanned and stored in the upcoming point of data. And if it's outside of that, then it's confusion. If it's outside of that, then it's confusion. And he doesn't get confused because he is still exploring. Someone who is finding a new path through the mountains proceeds cautiously. He places each step carefully, and because of this, he can see and observe the path. But the one who is constantly on this path, I am telling you about Dr. Ramchandra Reddy, isn't it? About 15 years ago, I saw his video on National. Dr. Ramchandra Reddy, does he work on brain-related topics? So, I remember an incident from their video. They are giving an interview for National and the camera is on them while they are driving. They said that even though my eyes are on the road, my attention is on you. So I am driving on the usual route I know. If something suddenly happens, there will be an accident because I am driving by memory. My attention is on you because... So, you see, where we live, if the light suddenly goes out, even in that darkness, we feel our way correctly. All these things are unconsciously in our memory. What is dark? What is pitch dark? There is a staircase after a few steps, and once you see the steps, you start climbing. In those steps, if you have to turn left here, there will be a door, etc. It's all in memory now. And normally, even while living, a person uses memory more and uses eyes, ears, nose very little. And that's why when you say you remember, it means I remember too. So you can verify whether what I said is true or false. Oh yes, there was a murder of a Shiv Sena MLA named Ramesh Moore. Manda Kamya de Ambassadke. Do you remember anything about Andheri Prem Kumar Sharma from Karnataka? I remember that. I am telling you, Vital Chavan. You too, the one you call Adhinur K in all this cyber stuff, what you call dumb data, he is with everyone. You don't use him, and my entire style has gotten used to it that when you go to a certain place, it clicks. Just the other day, I was at an event in Pune and we were sitting and chatting there. There's a journalist who writes very beautifully.
They had come. We met after many years. They said, brother, do you remember? But when did we meet?
I said, yes, in 1991. He was suddenly surprised. I said, you came with Uday Tampatil. Oh, he said, okay, you came with Uday. But how do you say 1991? Now, a reference can be added here. I said, when you came to meet me, I was working at a paper of Ganesh Naik, and Ganesh Naik became an MLA for the first time in 90. After becoming an MLA, he started that paper. So it's a matter of 1991. Now, all these references are given. Finally, who is Bhau Torsekar? As long as Bhau Torsekar also remembers the memories from his life, he is Bhau Torsekar. When things in your brain get deleted, you are Chitatidkar. You don't remember that you are Bhau Torsekar. At that time in all your life, I am now 77 years old. You might be 60 or 65 years old. So all those memories are like Uttam Shiralkar. The rest of the body is deceiving by showing with the mind. So this memory is the thing you and I are using now. And the other part is that I am not a student of political science. Therefore, I am not stuck in that political theory. The events that unfolded before my eyes or that I got to see, whether they were in America or in India. In these 70 years, the events that happened were heard, seen and read in my memory are like they have been scanned and stored. And because of that, when the topic comes up, I remember how Sharad Baba was so disturbed for a legislator, an attack on a legislator and so on. When you were the Home Minister, in just 1 year to 1.5 years, 4 legislators were killed in Mumbai alone. Not just that, they were killed in Maharashtra, in Mumbai. And that's why we were warned. If I remember that he needs to be reminded, he was the Home Minister at that time. So I was attacking there. But remembering that is not very difficult, is it? You just have to make a little effort. Let me tell you about an experiment I conducted. I am quite fine now. I am tired now, so I am not getting agitated. But 20 years ago, when my daughter went to America to do her master's degree, and my friends insisted that I conduct experiments there for studies because she never needed to take tuition, why, he said this would be useful for children. Write a book. I wrote the book, then some children insisted, so I held a camp. It was a camp for 30 to 35 children, and there was no studying in that camp. No studying. It was all play. And another thing was I had 2 or 3 colleagues. I had warned them too. I don't get faked by children shouting. And the day all those children came, except for the children who left for 15 days. So I was observing then around noon. It took about 2 hours for all the children to assemble. I was looking at them. I was focused on them, talking and doing everything. Later, when I first sat everyone down, assembled them and started talking to them, I made 2 children stand up. I asked, what's your name? What's his name? And then, where does he live? What do his parents do? Both had the basic information. Parents, where does the father work? Where does he live? I asked them, you have come here in just 2 hours. Why do you have so much information about each other? The children who couldn't answer that question. After that, I stood up 2 more children and asked them the same question.
They are answering some of these questions.
The reason is I explained to them, understand that I was observing you since you arrived. In that short period, the kids who were continuously talking, you started to like someone among those 35 people and you began to gather more information about each other. And those who didn't connect, who weren't liked, remained distant from each other in those 2 hours. That's what you're take care. If you like studying, it stays in your memory. So I told them one thing, take a book. When you take a book, you wonder when you will read such a thick book, when will it be finished? I know, keep turning the pages on some pager. If you like a word, stop there and start reading the book from there forward or backward. In the entire book, there is at least one interesting thing, and if you like it, you keep searching for what comes before and after it. You like a boy, who are his parents? Who is his mother? Where does he live?
Where do his father work? What is the name of his school? How much information did you recognize?
So interest is the focal point. All the information is spread around it. The more you expand its circumference, the more it grows. Therefore, remembering may not be a big deal. Everything is in mind. Which side will you turn to? Many are shocked by it. Now it will make me understand many things, but there's no fun in that.
Yes, brother. In anthropology, 2 types of memory are mentioned. One is called a generic memory. That means that person remembers everything well, like every single thing is remembered. But the second is domain-specific memory. It means the things we remember are accurately related to a specific field. That is, we doctors. We remember everything correctly about all our medical patients. Or accountants remember money-related things well, and business people remember financial transactions well. And an example of this that everyone will understand is a teacher on the show, Kaun Banega Crorepati. The secondary school teacher went all the way to the end and became a millionaire. Then when he was interviewed afterward, people would say to him, oh, you know all the answers to such difficult questions. That means your memory must be amazing. You must remember the name of every student in school. You don't face any memory issues in regular activities, but I do face difficulties in regular activities. I can't find where my wallet is or where my glasses are. I don't remember the names of every student, but the things I am curious about, the things I am interested in, I remember well. And because of that, in the subjects I take an interest in, I have a good memory for those things. So I was asked questions about those things. That's why I succeeded in it. So, brother, I feel that this applies to you as well. Because of your knowledge, experience, and great interest in politics and social affairs, you look at those things in a certain way and they quickly come to your memory, just as you recognize patterns and speak in that context. So how does this pattern recognition of yours happen? And did this habit develop from the beginning, or did journalism enhance it?
Understand the reason why this is happening in the world. It bothers us. Why didn't they mention this when they said so much? And this is the most important thing. Now, for example, when a person like Pawar says that a legislator has been threatened or a legislator has been murdered, the question arises, how do you not remember that? When you said that, I was more useless than you. In my time, there were discussions and murders because you are being hypocritical. You are pretending. Now, the funny thing is, let me tell you an example from about 5 to 7 years ago. I had gone to Solapur and the local press association had invited me for a discussion. There is an accusation against me that I am a Modi supporter, a Hindutva supporter, and so on. That's fine. So those 10 students asked me, being such a senior journalist, why do you remain reactionary? I said, when I became a journalist, there was no progressive or reactionary journalism. but I am ready to learn from you what reactionary and progressive mean. For example, I will tell you an incident in December 72 at Maharashtra College in Nagpada, Mumbai. There was an annual conference of the All India Muslim Personal Law Board. Hamid Dalwai led a protest against triple talaq there. In that protest, I was also there, along with Kamalakar, Subedar, and others. There were two people whom you might not recognize. One of them is named Hussein Nalwai. The other person's name is Balchand Munde. Now, the interesting thing is that the march was against triple talaq 72 years ago. It has been almost 50 years in the world. Today, I am also on the side of the two remaining in the news of triple talaq. So were they progressive then, or are they progressive now? Those kids said we don't know anything. I said, that's your problem. What you don't know doesn't exist in the world. You abandon it, try to gain that knowledge as well. The point is that you make a decision based on what is available to you. But when I decide, I ask, what is the background of this? What is the subject? What is its background? It should come with the people, so you can make the right decision. Otherwise, you make mistakes. I always give an example that if you have something at home, you take the opportunity of that teacher, the teacher who is prepared for that competition. Life is not laid out like that. Often if you look at where the merit list is posted, 10, 12 board exams, university, after that, how much actual knowledge do those students have in that subject? They are completing the exams, but what happens after that? That's why since my daughter was young, I took her studies myself. Never sent her to a tuition class. I taught her how to learn. The first thing is the concept of education, which is a Gurukul. Why does this concept seem important? The concept in Gurukul was to create a good person. Today, education has become training for employment and jobs, which is not education, not acquiring knowledge. So I believe the basic purpose of good education is to create a useful citizen for society. And apart from a little thing, everything else is education. It means creating a mechanic. In the same way, an engineer is created. There is no focus on nurturing their own talent or creativity. Because of that, they should come up with something new, or just keep doing it routinely. Keep doing it routinely, brother.
In psychology, thinking about thinking means reflecting on thought. In English, this is called metacognition, and it is considered very important. You are an intellectual journalist. You are an expert. Just remembering things is not cognition or memory, but thinking about those thoughts is also a feature of your style. Now, let me give an example from our medicine field about what metacognition is, or what thinking about thoughts means. When a surgeon performs an operation, and if there is a problem during that operation, here in England, an inquiry is conducted. In that inquiry, suppose they ask the surgeon what exactly happened when you were doing the operation, how did things happen, what event occurred. At that time, they tell us that I was doing this, or the patient had these problems, or such things happen from the assistants, then these things are cognition. But when the surgeon thinks about what thought were going on in their mind, when the surgeon says that, it is metacognition. So cognition is remembering events, things, and in metacognition, how to manage remembering them is called metacognition. So now again, when the surgeon later thinks about whether the decision made was right or wrong, monitoring one's own thoughts means metacognition is about managing, and in simple management terms, cognition is like a clerk and metacognition is like a manager. Just as a manager tells a clerk to get the work done, metacognition tells cognition or thoughts that these are the thoughts I need to have. So, I feel that in your speech, analysis or when speaking on a sensitive topic, you not only decide what not to say, but also thoughtfully determine how, when, and how much to say. So I want to know how you developed this metacognitive awareness. Sai, let me give you an example. Since the last Lok Sabha elections ended, Modi got 240 seats, below the majority. Since then, there have been talks that Naidu will break away, Nitish will break away, this government will stand and so on. It was said this government will fall. There won't be a majority. It's obvious it will fall, but should I explain the topic here? What next after the government fall? Has anyone even thought about this? And that's why I always tell Sai to hit now on my YouTube in Hindi. In that I said, what will happen now? I said, what are you saying? I said, Modi himself wants to bring down the government. They said, Modi will form his own government. I said, consider this. It's agreed that the government will fall, but the matter doesn't end just because the government falls, because the term of the Lok Sabha is 5 years until 2029. Therefore, if the Modi government falls, those who bring it down will have to form a government. Can they form the government? Think about it. Then you will realize that even if Nitish, Naidu or whoever breaks away and the government falls, can Congress and whoever is in the NDA together form a government? If they form it, can they run it? No. Then that becomes Modi's strong point. Modi's minority. At least today, he has a minority. This is his weak point. But then you cannot form a government for 4 years. That is your weak point. That was his strong point. Or you are only looking at Modi's weak point. But the opponent's weak point. It doesn't mean I have some cards in my hand. You might have them. I might have them. But how I am going to play with those cards is important. I will give you another beautiful example. I watched a video. There is an interview of Gavaskar. You can find it. Gavaskar was saying that Srikanth was a new fiery bowler, the next generation. But he used to bat excellently. Gavaskar came to open, and in the match against Pakistan, in the first 2 overs, the Pakistani bowler was completely dominated, thoroughly hit, and while the fielding was changing after the 3rd over, Gavaskar was calling him. Gavaskar complained that the fast bowler would run up to his follow-through after bowling and would swear at him. Srikanth said, who is it? He swears a lot. Then Gavaskar told him the bowler's name, and Srikanth was startled. And in the 3rd over, he started playing golf on the back foot and got out on the 2nd or 3rd ball. Now, this is fine, but Gavaskar explains it so beautifully. He says in cricket, you have to play the ball, not the bowler. You have to defend your wicket, right? Here, what did Kanyakumar do? Many people think, well, then it appears in front of you. Now you see it in front of you.
This is 2-dimensional, but the world is 3-dimensional.
When you forget whether there is something beyond this wall, you cannot analyze the 3-dimensional world. I have that perspective, that childlike innocence. Is there something beyond this? That's why I tell you this government will fall. They stopped at this. They crossed the walls. But beyond that wall, the thought of forming a government was not being analyzed by others, which I did. I tell you through dreams, what is the contemplation of the mind? Bringing in and digesting or contemplating what has been taken in means digesting, and if digested, the essence comes to you and the rest of the waste is discarded.
Wow. Is it?
Very nice, brother. So the point is that we listen to people. But is there any meaning in what we hear? There is a little child within me. A little girl keeps saying something that we don't understand. But that doesn't mean they are foolish. They communicate with you in their own way. After the birth of the little child within them, you will hardly see in 7 days that the child and its mother talk, communicate, and then the mother says he is saying this, he is saying that, and we don't understand at all. The term mother tongue comes from the first relationship with the mother. From birth, she nurtures, feeds, and so on. all vested interests of the child are with the mother, and thus gradually the child learns the mother's language because the mother is dominant in that relationship. Therefore, in any situation, you must communicate with her, so you have to accept her language. That's why it's the mother's language, not the father's language, not the paternal language. In this part, you need to realize what it is. Everyone is saying something. We are not ready to understand. But often we think those children are amusing. A person may seem foolish to us, but they are not foolish. They are saying something. If we try to understand it, we can gain what is called great wealth.
So today, when I chatted with Bhau Torsekar, I felt that the power of the mind is not just in remembering things, but in thinking about those thoughts. They told us that memory is not natural. It is a power developed through interest, practice, and the right perspective. In today's fast-paced information age, merely acquiring information is not enough. Reflecting on information is the true mental enrichment. That is mental strength. So, during the conversation just now, a quote came to my mind. The sharp mind can win arguments, but a wise mind understands silence. Today, from the thinker, we have received a very practical lesson on how to use the brain not just for speaking, but for understanding. How did you find our conversation? Did you benefit from it? Do let me know through your comments.